With Radio Algeria International, you will not miss a single major political or economic event. Radio Algeria International, our voice in the world.
This is the English service of Radio Algeria International. It's time for the news.
Prime Minister Safir Gharieb has indicated that the proposed technical amendments to the Constitution and the Organic Law on the electoral system reflect the state's determination to further strengthen the democratic process and consolidate the rule of law. The Sahrawi Observatory for Natural Resources and Environment has called on the EU to abide by international law, notably regarding the Sahrawi people's right to self-determination. The Palestinian People's Committees and National and Islamic Forces of the northern part of the Gaza Strip has stressed the necessity of reinforcing UNRWA's role and guaranteeing the continuity of its services. Hello and welcome to Radio Algeria International. I'm your host, Miriam Bershi. Prime Minister Safir Gharieb has indicated that the proposed technical amendments to the Constitution and the Organic Law on the electoral system reflect the state's determination to further strengthen the democratic process and consolidate the rule of law. Addressing a national conference on these amendments held in Algiers, Safir Gharieb explained that the changes aim to improve institutional efficiency, enhance functional coordination and reinforce citizens' trust while preserving national constants, rights and freedoms.
Continuing on the path towards optimal institutional governance, these technical modifications represent a qualitative leap that enhances the effectiveness of continuous readiness as part of constructive functional integration. This constitutes a robust, democratic and socially just state based on national constants and principles of legitimacy, enshrining rights and freedoms, and guiding everyone towards strengthening trust and consolidating institutional stability.
The Algerian Premier recalled that the 2020 Constitution, initiated by President Abdelmadjid Tebboune, marked a historic milestone that strengthened the rule of law, reinforced the state institutions, expanded freedoms, boosted political life, enhanced the role of civil society, ensured institutional balance, and strengthened the independence of oversight and consultative bodies. These reforms also led to the creation of new bodies that improved public services. Mr. Gharieb stressed that the proposed constitutional amendment is purely technical, intended to clarify procedural details, address practical gaps revealed on the ground, and ensure coherence between constitutional and legislative text without affecting fundamental principles. This approach, he said, follows the President of the Republic's instructions for a careful and thorough review. Regarding the amendments to the electoral law, he noted that they seek to improve the organization and credibility of elections, ensure equal opportunities, guarantee transparency at all stages of the process, and strengthen public confidence in elected institutions. The Prime Minister concluded by emphasizing that the success of these reforms depends on the commitment of all stakeholders, including institutions, political parties, civil society and the media, through responsible and constructive dialogue in the interests of the nation. For his part, the Director of the Presidential Cabinet, Boualem Boualem, said that the technical amendment to the Constitution represents a qualitative step towards improving the effectiveness of constitutional institutions and strengthening the protection of rights and freedoms.
The matter was submitted to discussion at the cabinet level, and the two draft projects were approved by the Council of Government. The review was postponed not because of the absence of the Chief of Staff, who was on the end of the year leave. Secondly, to enrich these two drafts by the political parties.
He explained that the changes announced by President Abdelmadjid Tebboune aim to address technical gaps, clarify ambiguities and resolve contradictions revealed through the practical implementation of the 2020 Constitution without altering its core principles. Meanwhile, political parties participating in the meeting praised the symposium's outcomes, which, according to them, would enshrine the approach of dialogue and consultation and strengthen the democratic process. Prime Minister Sifir Dieb has installed the National Council for Agricultural Mechanization in accordance with the instructions made by the President of the Republic, Mr. Abdelmajid Tebboune, with the aim of modernizing the agricultural sector and strengthening its production capacities by providing farms with agricultural equipment. The National Council for Agricultural Mechanization brings together representation of representatives from the relevant sectors, as well as farmers, associations and local economic operators producing agricultural equipment. The Prime Minister gave instructions so that the Council be endowed with an action plan, including the comprehensive survey of the farmers' equipment needs, taking into consideration the specific characteristics of each agricultural sector. The Prime Minister also indicated that the action plan must include the necessary measures to strengthen and diversify local production of agricultural equipment in order to meet the needs, while taking into account the characteristics of each region. The chargé d'affaires of the French embassy in Algiers has been summoned by the Ministry of Foreign Affairs following the broadcast by the French public channel, France 2, of what is misleadingly presented as a documentary. Mohamed Khatel has more details in this report.
Algeria considered the broadcast as nothing more than a web of deeply offensive and unnecessarily provocative fallacies. A communique issued by the Algerian Foreign Ministry noted that the diplomat was informed of the extreme seriousness of the following. Firstly, the Algerian Foreign Ministry held France accountable as it believes that such an attack on the Algerian state, its institutions and its symbols would have never been broadcast without the complicity or at least the consent of its public supervisory authority. It added that all diplomatic practices and customs, the contribution of the French embassy in Algiers and the ambassador himself to the promotion of this outrageous campaign led to the public channel reinforce the feeling that it has benefited from the blessing of the French official services. The communique stressed that the actions of the French channel represent a new stage in the escalation of anti-Algerian activities that French official circles are pursuing in order to keep Algerian-French relations in a state of permanent crisis. The Algerian government strongly condemned the program and the unspeakable nature of the accusations and insults it contains about the Algerian state and its institutions. It also strongly disapproved the involvement of the French ambassador in Algiers in acts that are blatantly contrary to the exercise of his mission as codified by law and enshrined in international customs. The French diplomat has been notified that the Algerian government reserves the right to take all necessary measures in response to the seriousness of such actions.
The Minister of Post and Telecommunications, Sida El Zarrouki, took part in the first inaugural meeting of the African Council for Artificial Intelligence, AI, under the Smart Africa Alliance, in the wake of his appointment as a member of this high-level continental council. Mohamed Khatel reports.
The meeting, in which the minister participated via video conference, brought together ministers and experts from different regions of the African continent. The appointment was made from among 226 eminent personalities, including 54 ministers, with the council being made up of only 15 members. The members of the council were selected by a tripartite committee composed of the International Telecommunication Union, the African Union and the Smart Africa Alliance. The meeting was an opportunity to present and discuss the roadmap for the implementation of the African Artificial Intelligence Council, in addition to the mechanisms for executing the African strategy on AI to ensure the acceleration of the adoption of these technologies at the continental level, according to a responsible, comprehensive and sovereign approach that serves the interests of the African peoples. The Council's annual meeting schedule was discussed with the definition of the main stages and consideration of the creation of specialized technical working groups. On the occasion, Mr. Zarrouki reaffirmed Algeria's commitment to contribute effectively to the development of policies and strategic and regulatory frameworks relating to the governance of artificial intelligence and digital infrastructure, as well as to strengthen cooperation with fellow African countries in the areas of innovation, capacity building, and human skills development.
And as mentioned earlier in our top stories, the Sahrawi Observatory for Natural Resources and Environment Protection has called on the European Union (EU) to abide by the international law, notably regarding the Sahrawi people's right to self-determination. It warned against, as it put it, the systematic contempt of the relevant rulings issued by the European jurisdictions, recalling that self-determination is not a negotiable political option but a fundamental right of the peoples. The observatory underlined that the EU could not defend the people's right to self-determination while ignoring the Sahrawi people's fundamental ones. In this respect, it recalled that all the rulings issued by European Court of Justice confirmed that Western Sahara was a distinct and separated territory from Morocco, and that any court agreement related to the territory or to its natural resources required the Sahrawi people's consent. The Sahrawi Observatory denounced all persisting attempts by the Moroccan occupier to impose Western Sahara's inclusion in the trade agreements it concludes within the EU. And the Palestinian People's Committees and National and Islamic Forces of the northern part of the Gaza Strip has stressed the necessity of reinforcing UNRWA's role and guaranteeing the continuity of its services. Mohammed Hatter has the details.
The Palestinian People's Committees and National and Islamic Forces urged all the components of the Palestinian people to actively take part in rallies held in support of the UN agency and safeguard its existence as well as its vital role in the service of refugees. The Palestinian forces denounced the Israeli schemes aimed at undermining UNRWA's role and suppressing its existence, while insisting on the necessity for the UN agency to fully assume its obligations towards the Palestinian people, notably regarding humanitarian aid, education and health. This came as UNRWA's General Commissioner Philippe Lazzarini once again denounced the ban imposed by the Israeli occupying authorities on international journalists' entry into the Palestinian enclave. He rejected the measure, saying it fuels disinformation campaigns and constitutes a serious attempt to the fundamental principle of the freedom of the press. Meanwhile, Belgium said it had decided to impose a total ban on its arms exports and transfer of weapons and military equipment to the Israeli occupying authorities. Under the measure, which came into force yesterday, the landing and the flyover of the country's airspace by planes carrying such equipment are also banned. In the meantime, several Palestinians were injured during attacks carried out by Jewish settlers against areas east and northwest of the West Bank town of Hebron. According to the news agency Wafa, the Palestinians were attacked by Jewish settlers backed by Israeli soldiers while they were cultivating their land.
Indonesian rescuers have resumed searching for at least 80 people who are still reporting missing in a deadly landslide after the mission coordinator said operation had to be suspended overnight due to harsh weather. With this last piece of news, we conclude our news edition. Thank you for joining us on Radio Algeria International.
Hello and welcome to your weekly program Technoverse and the Science Planet on Radio Algeria International. Today, we explore two technologies that quietly shape almost every aspect of our daily routines: Wi-Fi and Bluetooth. From sending messages and streaming videos to connecting headphones, smartwatches, and home devices, these two wireless connectivity systems are constantly working behind the scenes of modern life. They are familiar names used by billions of people every day, often without a second thought. Yet despite this constant presence, many of us have never really stopped to ask how they work, what makes them different, or why our devices rely on two separate wireless systems. By understanding them, we can appreciate how much engineering and innovation goes into keeping us connected seamlessly, often without even noticing. So what truly separates Wi-Fi from Bluetooth, and how do these invisible technologies keep our digital world connected? How can the right technology improve the way we live, work, and play in a connected world? To understand the difference between Wi-Fi and Bluetooth, we must first understand the idea of wireless communication itself. Wireless communication allows devices to exchange information without physical cables, using radio waves. These waves move through the air, carrying digital information such as voice, music, images, and internet data from one device to another. Every time we make a video call, play a song on our smart speaker, or check social media on a phone, radio waves are working invisibly to make it possible. Over time, engineers realized that no signal wireless system could efficiently serve all needs. Some tasks require fast speeds and large data transfers, while others demand stability, simplicity, and very low energy use. For example, sending a movie to your tablet requires speed and bandwidth, while keeping your smartwatch connected during a workout needs efficiency and low power. As a result, different wireless standards were created, each optimized for a specific purpose. Wi-Fi and Bluetooth are products of these different design goals. Together, they form the backbone of modern digital communication, solving different problems in complementary ways. Wi-Fi was designed primarily to connect devices to the internet. It links smartphones, laptops, tablets, and televisions to a router, which then connects to global communication networks. Its main advantage is performance. Wi-Fi supports high data speeds, allowing users to stream high-definition video, join video conferences, download large files, and connect multiple devices at the same time. This makes it essential for homes, offices, universities, and media environments. Think of Wi-Fi as the highway that allows enormous amounts of digital traffic to flow efficiently from the internet to our devices. However, this performance comes with trade-offs. Wi-Fi consumes more power, especially on mobile devices. Its speed can decrease when many users are connected, and its signal can weaken due to distance, thick walls, or interference from nearby networks. That's why sometimes streaming a video in one room works perfectly, while in another room it may lag. The highway of Wi-Fi can get congested or blocked. Bluetooth, on the other hand, follows a very different philosophy. Instead of connecting devices to the internet, it connects devices directly to each other over short distances. Bluetooth was designed to be simple, stable, and energy efficient. It uses minimal power, allowing devices such as wireless headphones, microphones, keyboards, smartwatches, car audio systems, and medical sensors to remain connected for long periods without frequent recharging. Unlike Wi-Fi, Bluetooth doesn't need a central hub or router. Devices can talk directly to each other almost anywhere. While Bluetooth cannot compete with Wi-Fi in terms of speed or range, its low energy consumption and reliability make it ideal for personal devices that need constant nearby communication. For example, a fitness tracker can monitor your heartbeat and send the data to your phone throughout the day without draining the battery, all thanks to Bluetooth. Although Wi-Fi and Bluetooth both rely on radio waves, they are built for very different tasks. Wi-Fi excels at moving large amounts of data across networks and over longer distances. Bluetooth specializes in maintaining efficient, low-power connections between devices that are close to each other. In a way, Wi-Fi is like a busy city highway carrying heavy traffic, while Bluetooth is like a quiet local street linking your home gadgets. Rather than competing, these technologies complement one another. In fact, many modern devices use both at the same time. For example, a smartphone may use Wi-Fi to stream music from the internet, while Bluetooth sends that audio to wireless headphones. Each technology handles what it was designed to do best, making our digital experiences smooth, seamless, and effortless. The confusion between Wi-Fi and Bluetooth exists largely because both technologies operate invisibly. Users interact with screens, apps, and devices, not with radio signals or network systems. Since both Wi-Fi and Bluetooth often activate automatically and work silently in the background, their differences are rarely explained. This can lead to misunderstandings about battery life, connection quality, and device performance. Understanding their distinct roles allows users to make better choices, troubleshoot common connectivity issues, and even optimize device setup for work, entertainment, or smart home systems. Once you understand their purpose, the invisible threads connecting our devices suddenly make a lot more sense. Both Wi-Fi and Bluetooth continue to evolve as technology advances. New generations aim to deliver faster speeds, improved security, low energy consumption, and enhanced performance in crowded environments. For instance, Wi-Fi 6 and 7 promise more stable connections in offices and apartments packed with devices, while Bluetooth Low Energy LE keeps smartwatches, earbuds, and sensors running longer without recharge. As smart homes, connected vehicles, wearable technology, and digital media continue to expand, these wireless systems will become even more central to daily life. The future of wireless communication is not about replacing one technology with another, but about improving how they work together to support a more connected, efficient, and intelligent world. Wi-Fi and Bluetooth may be invisible, but they are powerful technologies shaping how we communicate, work, and interact with the world around us every day. You have been listening to Technoverse and the Science Planet on Radio Algeria International. Until our next journey into the science and technology, let curiosity guide your steps and knowledge lead your way.
Hello and welcome to Discover Algeria, a program in which we'll let you discover or know more about the Algerian heritage, to include history, traditions, popular beliefs, social rituals, celebrations, as well as many aspects of the Algerians' life dating back to the Berber or Amazigh era until the Muslims won. Decided to take you to the Algerian desert, 1,200 kilometers from the capital Algiers to the small town of Timimoun, located in the heart of the Gourara region and part of the Western Great Erk. Timimoun is located in the arid zone of the Sahara in the southwestern province of Adrar, with an annual rainfall that doesn't exceed 100 millimeters per year. The region is marked by incredibly high sand dunes that shift restlessly day after day across the hot, sandy plains of the desert. Is situated between palm groves and a salt lake in a little desert oasis. The magnificent sand dunes of the Sahara rise and fall in the distance, providing the city with the most picturesque backdrop. The town can be divided into two sections. The old part is called Al-Qsur, which is the Arabic word for castles, and most of the houses are built of red mud in a style known as Sudanese architecture. These homes seem to compete for space, almost climbing on top of one another as they try to gain the highest ground possible. The streets between them are narrow and in true desert fashion are shaded over by large sheets of cloth so that passing pedestrians can have some sort of relief from the blazing sun. The properties here are enclosed by mud walls that are too high to see over, and the shade of the palm trees provides welcome relief. In the modern sections of the town, which were built by the French, much of the original architectural styles were drawn on to create a harmonious feel. For instance, the Oasis Rouge or Red Oasis Hostel that was once built in this newer section by the French is now a cultural center. There is also the Gurera Hotel, built after Algeria's independence by Fernand Pouillon in the 70s, and which is a tribute to the Qsur architecture as well as to the materials used, with that kind of ochre-like color so particular to Timimoun's constructions. Now, one of the most notable features in this city are also the Qubbat, which are buildings with dome shapes dedicated to the marabout or saints in the region. There's also the oasis, which is full of a great number of palm trees that protect crops planted with fruit trees, vegetables, and irrigated thanks to a fantastic irrigation system called Fougera that date back to the first inhabitants of the region 10 centuries ago. The Fougera managed to mobilize groundwater for the irrigation of hectares of crops. Today, unfortunately, we witness the gradual disappearance of Fougeras. We lose about 1 to 2 Fougeras per year for over half a century. The causes of decline in Fougeras are technical, social and environmental, such as heritage, depopulation, as well as silting and flooding of the galleries by wild plants. There are also technical problems such as the collapse of tunnels, which also cause the degradation of the Fougeras. Let's mention too that the modern collection of water with pumps and drilling is also gradually replacing the traditional hydraulic system.